Okay, today we're going to disassemble, fully take apart all the different components from the different assemblies of a Glock pistol. This one happens to be a Glock 23. It's a 40 caliber pistol. First thing we're going to do is take our magazine out. Magazine's empty. We're going to lock our slide to the rear. We're going to check our chamber, check down into the magazine well, make sure there's no ammunition. So the gun's fully unloaded. You got to make sure that the weapon is unloaded before you do anything. Make sure you're checking the chamber. Make sure you're checking your magazine, because to disassemble the weapon, you have to pull the trigger. Okay, you have to snap the trigger off like that. So actually, the firing pin went forward. So you don't want to do that with any kind of ammunition in the weapon. Okay, after we do that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our shooting hand, whether you're left-handed or you're right-handed, and you're just going to wrap your fingers around, put your thumb right in the back of the grip, pull back 1/8 of an inch, that much. That's all you got to do is pull back that much. Your takedown levers are here and here. It's just one solid piece of metal that goes right through both sides of the gun here. So pull back 1/8 of an inch, pull down on your takedown levers, and let your slide go forward. And you're going to take your slide off, and then you have your slide assembly, and then you have your receiver assembly. I've been doing this since Glock armor. I've been a certified Glock armorer since about 1995, when my department first went to Glock handgun. We originally went to the Glock 23 for second generation, and then we progressed from there. Your recoil spring, again, I'll show you how we take that out. Okay, only thing you're going to do is you're going to grab the back of it and pull straight up. Okay, the recoil spring on a Glock handgun is captured. Okay, meaning the plastic piece in the center and the spring are one unit. They're made that way. They don't come apart. And we'll go over how to clean that in a little bit. Next thing you're going to do, you take your slide upside down, you're going to push up here, and you're going to grab the barrel lugs, and you're going to pull your barrel out. Set your barrel down. For normal cleaning and maintenance, that's pretty much what you have to do to take just to take your gun apart for normal cleaning. We're going to go into how to take the rest of the components apart inside the slide in just a little bit. As far as your receiver is concerned, for normal cleaning, this is all you have to do to get in and make sure your rails are clean, and you get all the carbon firing residue inside, and inside the magazine well is clean, because if you're dropping your magazines on the sand and dirt and grass and gravel and things like that, and you're shoving them back up inside, you tend to get a lot of debris back up inside your magazine well, which is right near your firing mechanism when it comes up into the top here. So if your tip of your magazines are dirty and you're bringing it back up into your gun, you can see how it's going to go right to your firing mechanism if you're not taking care to make sure that the dirt is knocked off or the sand is knocked out of them and things like that. So that's why your Glock has to be maintained, even when dirty, just from firing it, from doing a different tactical training and stuff like that. Your magazines going back up, you're going to introduce a lot of dust and debris and sand and dirt and vegetation and things like that into the gun. That's why it needs to be cleaned. Okay, so for normal cleaning, and you can see everything I have right here. You have a regular Otis style brush, a small end and a large end. You have a Glock cleaning brush, your cleaning rod with the patch holder all integral with it. Very good rod, just Glock gives you right from the start. The other things I like to use also is just a swab on a wire twisted on. Very good for cleaning out your magazines and things like that. And we'll go over why we use that kind of stuff. Pipe cleaner. I believe it's a necessary piece of equipment to clean a lot of the innards of the gun, both your receiver and your slide, especially your slide. The other tools we have for totally disassembling the Glock pistol is just a small straight blade screwdriver, Craftsman. Anything, any kind of small screwdriver will do. Your Glock disassembly tool. Okay, this is basically all you're going to need, and your needle nose pliers and your screwdriver for doing a couple of small little maneuvers with the gun. And any kind of needle nose pliers would be fine. Okay, so we just basically disassembled the weapon for cleaning. We'll go over that real quick. Make sure you get your brush. I like to use alcohol, regular rubbing alcohol, because to clean with, you dip your brush into your rubbing alcohol and you brush everything off, and it removes most of the carbon and unburnt powder and residues and things like that. And then it dries. Alcohol evaporates after you're done. So that's why we tend to use alcohol. You get your brush, you dip it into the alcohol, you clean your bore, usually go in and out a couple of times. Get your brush, dip it into the alcohol again, clean off all external portions of the barrel, paying particular attention to your feed ramp here. And right over here you'll have a lot of carbon built up right into this area here. And your feed ramp here will have a lot of carbon on it, and copper jacket and things like that. Also paying attention to your lugs of your barrel. These are the locking lugs of the barrel. Okay, this little half moon shaped piece right here is where your rear of your recoil spring fits in when we reassemble the weapon. I'll go over that again. Pay particular attention to those areas. Your lands and grooves of the barrel, if you could see down inside there. Okay, making sure you get all the carbon out of your chamber area. Your chamber area is that round area where that ridge is. You can see the lands and grooves right inside there. So you want to clean everything and dry everything off. Dry the alcohol off. Okay, next is your slide. Okay, you want to dip your brush into your alcohol, and you want to get the bristles of that brush all the way into your slide rails, both sides, up and down. Scrub them in and out. Get all that carbon and residue out. Scrub into this area around your muzzle area, because this is where your barrel is going to sit in here. Okay, you're going to scrub all up in here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your slide and turn it upside down with your brush loaded up with alcohol, and you're going to scrub the breech face this way. Okay, and the reason we do it that way rather than this way is if we scrub it with alcohol this way and there's any oil or solvents or anything like that on your gun, you're going to force it down the flash hole on your breech face right here. Get a little closer. And then right here, and then it's going to drip down inside your firing pin channel, and you're going to get debris and oils and things like that down into your firing pin channel. So we tend to scrub the breech face this way so everything comes out and leaks out of your firing pin channel. One particular place you want to pay attention to with the small end of your brush with your alcohol is right here, which is where your extractor is, and you're going to get a lot of carbon residue underneath of that. So again, you can get that small end of that brush in there this way, and you can clean out behind your extractor. On this side, you're also going to have a lot of firing residue, so you want to get that back in there, that brush in there, and scrub all of that out. Okay, then get a wet patch with alcohol and wipe all your external and internal portions of your slide, paying particular attention down inside here, and then dry it all off with a clean rag. That's the normal cleaning for that. Now for your receiver, the same thing. What you want to do is you want to get your brush with your alcohol, and you want to dip it in, and you want to scrub into these areas, the 4 areas of your rails, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Down inside here is your locking block. Here's your takedown latch. You can see from the inside as I'm pulling down on it how that works. This is your slide lock. Okay, here's your trigger bar right here. And you can see how that works. And here's your ejector. This piece right here that looks like a cross is what they call the cruciform, and the rear of the cruciform right here is where it engages with your firing pin inside your slide. So again, you want to make sure all that area is clean. Back in here, this little piece that's sticking up is called the connector, and that piece is what regulates your trigger pull, because they come in different sizes, and they come in a plus, a minus, and things like that. and that's what's actually going to engage your trigger bar and determine your trigger pull, is by what angle it's on, and that's that piece right there. That's the piece that actually determines what your trigger pull is. And a lot of people own a lighter pull or heavier pull depending on what it is. A lot of the police departments are regulated by policy of what connector has to be in their gun, whether it's an 8-pound pull or a 5-pound pull. Then for competition and target use, they also make a 3.5-pound pull, which is scary light. When you pull the trigger, you just have to breathe on it, and the gun goes off. This particular one happens to be a 5-pound connector, and I'll show you differences in that when we take the gun apart. Okay, this is a stock Glock 23. The only thing I have on it is grip tape on the outside, just when your hands are sweaty. It does make nice, have a nice grip area with grip tape stuck onto the outside of the gun, so that you get a firm grip on the weapon when we're using it. Okay, so why don't we start now that we went over our basic cleaning. We'll go over what an armorer does and how to break down. Now, we break all of our weapons down in our armory once a year. Every officer has their weapon broken down by a certified armorer at least once a year. Sometimes more if it needs it. If the officer happens to go to a lot of training and does a lot of shooting with the weapon, we may do it more than that. This particular Glock has night sights on it. There's a standard Glock night sights, okay, guaranteed for about 15 years, and I think every weapon should come with night sights. I think they make sense. Okay, I even have grip tape in my slide area to give myself a nice grip on my slide when my hands might be sweaty, and you're nervous, or you're anticipating problems. Everybody's heartbeat goes up and you start perspiring. So that's why in those slide serrations on the side there, we have that grip tape. It gives you a very, very nice grip when you're working the slide. Okay, now to fully disassemble the slide assembly, first thing you're going to do is make sure this is your firing pin safety. Now when you take your gun apart, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, and you're going to notice when you go to pull your firing pin to the rear, you're going to hear a little click, and that's your firing pin safety engaging on the firing pin. Okay, it's a normal thing, so don't get upset if you move something and you feel that click up into place. Now right down inside here, you're going to see a small piece of plastic where the firing pin is riding inside of. That's the firing. There's a channel inside here that your firing pin rides in. That piece of plastic is attached to the firing pin assembly. Okay, and what you're going to do is there's a rod that comes in here, and then there's this piece of plastic comes all the way to the back. It actually engages your cap on the back of your slide. So now to disengage that, to take pressure off the cap, you're going to take your armorer's tool, you're going to put it right between the firing pin and that piece of plastic, and you're going to push down on that piece of plastic. Okay, and a lot of times I've seen, and I've also seen, guys come in with their guns to be fixed, and I've seen pry marks all the way around this area where somebody's just got a screwdriver and jammed it in there and tried to pry off that back cover to take the gun apart, not knowing that there's pressure from your internal parts that go against that cover. There's no need to pry this. There's no need to use any types of tools. You have serrations right here. Only thing you do is you put your thumb on those serrations. So at the same time, you take your armorer's tool, you push down on that little piece of plastic, and you slide your cover off, keeping your thumb on top of these spring-loaded parts inside here. Now, that's all the cover is just like that. There's a couple of notches in here. You have a round section that fits the back of the firing pin assembly right here. So you see how that sits in there like that and holds it in place. Okay, once we have our cover off, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our armorer's tool. We're going to pick up on the firing pin assembly, and your whole assembly is going to come right out of your weapon, just like that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to just reach in and we're going to take out our spring-loaded bearing and our the rod that puts tension and pressure on your extractor. That comes right out. And don't be, if this happens to come apart, okay, don't be upset. Just take it, press it back on, make sure, just push it down like that, make sure it's snapped back on. It's made to come on and off. Next thing is we're going to take our extractor out and your firing pin safety. Take your armorer's tool, put your extractor so it's facing down on your mat. Just push in on that firing pin safety, and look at that, your extractor pops right out. Now we're going to take out our firing pin safety. Just take your gun upside, so so the slide is facing up and your firing pin safety's down. Tap a couple times and it'll pop right out. Now you'll notice this little spring that's attached to the bottom of your firing pin safety. Okay, sometimes when you take this out, that spring will just pop right out, okay, on its own. So don't get upset. Put your firing pin safety down on your mat. Take your firing pin safety spring, take your armorer's tool, put it upside down, and watch. Just push, and you'll actually feel it pop right back into its captured mode, just like that. So that's all you're going to have to do. Okay, so don't get worried about that. Now, right now, your slide assembly is disassembled. Okay, there's no other moving parts besides your sights on this particular Glock. All right, on all Glocks just about. There's no other moving parts inside. Okay, now the only other thing we have to do to take apart to really maintain and clean all these different parts is to take apart your firing pin safety. You take very simply, you take your slide and you just stand it up on the muzzle, so you have the firing pin channel facing up. You take your assembly and just take it and put it in backwards like that. Okay, now you take your firing pin and you just turn it to the side so it has something to go against right here like that. You're going to grab your spring. Now this plastic piece, which looks like it's in one piece, are actually two half moon shaped pieces on your firing pin assembly. So you're just going to grab your spring, not the plastic pieces, and you're going to pull down, and you're going to take these out one at a time. There's one, and there's the other one, and they're just half moon pieces, spring cups. And you're going to remove your firing pin spring, and you're going to pull your assembly out, and then this sleeve, the plastic sleeve, and your firing pin are going to come all out. Now on the back here, you'll see that there's a number. I don't know if you can really see that. 4270 right there on the back of the firing pin. This is a 40 caliber firing pin. All the firing pins are not the same. Okay, so if you're going to replace parts, you're going to have to know exactly what part numbers that you're going to replace, because a 9mm firing pin is not interchangeable with a 40 caliber pin and things like that.